Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a ridiculously frustrating modern problem, but we're going to use a remarkably old solution to fix it. We live in this crazy era of hyper-productivity, endless digital tools, and, infinite life hacks. Yet, we still constantly find ourselves totally distracted, burnt out, or acting completely against our own best interests. Well, it turns out the actual blueprint for solving our very modern career and digital struggles, it was drawn up about 2,400 years ago. So, let's dive right in. First up, I want you to honestly ask yourself, why do we self-sabotage? You're the protagonist of your own life, right? So why do you so often act like your own worst enemy? You set a goal, you make this incredibly detailed plan, you know exactly what you need to do to succeed, and then you just completely derail yourself. It's an absolutely infuriating cycle, isn't it? Now, this stark comparison perfectly captures the core of our daily struggle. On one hand, we've got what we know we absolutely should be doing, like putting in the deep work to build our career or studying for that crucial certification. But on the other side, we have what we actually do. Doom scrolling through social media for hours or binge watching a show we've already seen like 3 times. The gap between those two realities is exactly where all our anxiety and guilt lives. And it turns out this friction isn't some modern mechanical glitch in our brains. It's actually an ancient war.
Part 1. Your mind at war. Let's look at this internal power struggle.
Part 2. Plato's tripartite soul. We need to understand the actual structure of the psyche. To really understand this war, we've got to turn to Plato. He proposed something completely revolutionary. He said the human soul, or the psyche, isn't just this one single cloudy mist floating inside us. He called this the tripartite theory of the soul. Basically, it's a framework that divides the soul's content into 3 distinct, fiercely competing energetic parts. And these 3 parts dictate every single human behavior, every internal conflict, and every desire you have. By defining this, Plato essentially handed us a structural map of our own internal drives. This structural map of our internal drives is massive and super detailed. Let's walk through it together. First up, we have the logisticon, the rational soul, which sits right in the head. Its core motivation is seeking truth, logic, facts, and deep learning. But if it's left unchecked, its dark side is total analysis paralysis or intellectual arrogance. When you master it, though, it yields wisdom. Next is the Phimides, the spirited soul, located right in the chest. This part desperately seeks honor, recognition, victory, and justice. Unchecked, it turns into blind rage or ego-driven pride. But when mastered, it becomes pure courage. And finally, the epithematicon, the appetitive soul, sitting heavily in your stomach or abdomen. It just seeks basic survival, physical pleasures, and wealth. Left entirely to its own devices, its dark side is addiction, greed, and hedonic impulses. Mastered, it brings temperance. Every single thing you do is driven by one of these 3 very distinct forces. Part 3, the chariot allegory. Let's visualize how all these parts interact. So, how in the world do these 3 completely different forces manage to exist inside one person? Well, Plato gave us this incredibly dynamic visual metaphor. Picture a chariot. You are the charioteer. You represent reason, the conscious mind holding the map, trying your best to steer toward your long-term goals. Pulling your chariot are 2 horses. The white horse represents your spirit. It's noble, it's strong, it really wants to win the race, and it actually behaves well when you give it clear direction. But right beside it is the black horse. This represents your appetites. It is massive, wild, totally unruly, and driven entirely by primal instinct. And here's the thing. The black horse absolutely does not care about your long-term career goals. It doesn't care about your exams. Honestly, it doesn't care about the destination at all. It just wants to veer off the path right now to eat grass, mate, or just rest. It is pure, chaotic, immediate gratification pulling wildly at the reins of your life. Part 4, the tyranny of desire. What happens when the appetite actually rules? So what happens when these forces fall completely out of alignment? When that wild black horse just totally takes over, the charioteer gets dragged along helplessly in what's known as a tyranny of desire. Your reason knows you need to study for an exam. You have the books literally open in front of you. But your appetite, that primal, desperate urge for an instant dopamine hit, just violently grabs the reins, and suddenly, whoops, you're scrolling social media for 6 hours straight. You aren't actually lacking discipline. Your rational mind has simply been overpowered by your basic instinctual drives. Part 5, misguided anger and ego, the classic ego trap. But hey, it's not just the black horse that causes trouble. What happens when the noble white horse, your spirit and your ego, decides to break away from reason? Well, you fall right into the trap of misguided anger. Your reason knows perfectly well that protecting your peace and saving your energy for your career or your family is the logical choice. But your spirit, it's seeking honor. It's desperate to defend its pride. So it drags you right into a toxic, heated online argument with a complete stranger. You totally drain your energy for an ego battle that serves absolutely zero logical purpose. Your white horse just dragged your chariot off a cliff. Part 6. Finding your inner justice. Achieving psychological alignment. Okay, take a breath. How do we actually stop the chariot from tearing itself apart? True harmony isn't about destroying the horses. You actually need the black horse's energy to survive, and you need the white horse's drive to achieve anything great. Plato called the ideal balanced state justice, or dikaiosune. It's a state of psychological health that only occurs when every single part of the soul does its specific job without interfering with the others. It's all about alignment, not suppression. To actually achieve this alignment, Plato outlines a highly practical, 3-step mechanical process. Step 1. Reason has to analyze the map and set the goal. You have to logically know what you want. Step 2. Reason cannot fight that massive black horse all by itself. It's impossible. It must enlist the spirit, the white horse. You've got to attach your sense of pride, honor, and willpower to your logical goals. And step 3. Together, the charioteer and the white horse are finally strong enough to control the unruly black horse, keeping your basic appetites in check and the whole chariot moving safely forward. This beautiful quote sums up the ultimate goal perfectly. When every part does its specific job without interfering with the others, the mind experiences true harmony. By mastering this ancient framework, by just taking a second to recognize which part of your soul is trying to yank the reins at any given moment, you can actually cure your modern burnout. You can stop the doom scrolling and the toxic arguments and finally get your chariot moving toward the life you actually want to build. So I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to really reflect on as you go about the rest of your day. The next time you look at your phone or sit down at your desk, be completely honest with yourself. Who is driving your chariot today? Is it logic? Is it ego? Or is it just dopamine? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will definitely see you next time.